Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Rockies Daily. I'm your host, Scott Ayers, where we talk all things Colorado Rockies. And, folks, we are so close to opening day. We will see opening days for a lot of other teams in Major League Baseball, but I'm not sure if Manfred and company forgot about the Rockies and Miami because just about everyone's playing Thursday. But not your Colorado Rockies. We will get to wait one extra day and play tomorrow against the Marlins. But look, we've got some things we want to talk about. And for tomorrow's episode, my hope is that by the time I record, we will know lineups and everything like that. If not, it will be more of just a prediction of what I think that starting lineup, opening day lineup, will look like. But let's not talk about that yet. Let's talk about the guys who have made the roster for the Colorado Rockies. And there's nothing too crazy on here. One of the things that, I'll mention later on the show is there's just three left-handed pitchers for the Colorado Rockies. But the bullpen, you've got guys like Juan Maya, and Senzatella makes it, Victor Vodnik, Zach Agnos, which I'm really excited for Agnos. If you recall, he actually had a really exciting outing against Team USA. Sorry, I'm slightly losing my voice as well, but we're gonna persevere and get through it. But also, so Agnos makes it. Obviously, you've got Dollander in the bullpen, Jaden Hill, Jimmy Herget, and then obviously the starters, which has been solidified for quite some time. Ultimately, though, there isn't anything too crazy that we haven't already talked about. Obviously, that infield-outfield combo of Willie Castro, Troy Johnston, and Ryan Ritter. And I really am excited to see just how Warren Schaefer uses some of these guys because Ryan Ritter had a really strong spring. Willie Castro had a strong spring, and Troy Johnston did enough. Obviously, with Freeman's injury, he gets the nod. But ultimately, it's a lineup that should be improved from last year. But man, it is an exciting time for the Colorado Rockies. A lot of guys on the injured list, though. Just to name them: Blaine Crin, Tyler Freeman, Zach Veen, McCade Brown, R.J. Pettit, Chris Bryant, Jeff Criswell, and Pearson Ole. And obviously, some of those guys are just 10-day. Then you've got KB, who we might not ever see again. I don't think we will see him again. And if we do, it won't be in a Rockies uniform. So, yeah, that's just kind of how it crumbles. But look, also, a lot of new faces, a lot of guys making their debut for opening day. Their opening day debut, I should say, right? Some of these guys did play last year. But just to be in a full ballpark, I hope Miami's ballpark is full. But for an opening day, it's a big deal, and it's a big honor for these guys. And the Rockies have about 8 or 9 guys that are making their opening day debut. Troy Johnston, Ryan Ritter, Kyle Karros, TJ Rumfield, Zach Agnos, Chase Dollander, Jaden Hill, and Juan Maya. Oh, and Brett Sullivan. And look, there's a lot of young guys on this team, and Warren Schaefer, the front office, all talked about raising the floor. So to still see so many young guys getting an opportunity for their first opening day is a really big deal, and it's exciting because some of these guys are going to be starting. Kyle Karros should absolutely be starting at third. TJ Rumfield, I think, did enough to be the starting first baseman to start the year. We'll see, though. I that's where I'm really curious what that will look like. But yeah, so that's obviously what the infield will look like. We've got just a lot of younger players that get to make their debut, which is a big deal. And so for the Colorado Rockies, it might be a tumultuous season. We talked about Paul De Podesta's letter that he sent, just saying, hey, we're building something. It's going to take some time. 2026, you just kind of have to trust the process. And I think part of trusting that process is trusting some of these younger guys being slotted into starting positions. Kyle Karros being one of the most excited players, or one of the guys I'm most excited for this season. For whatever reason, the Rockies have done a great job of just growing star-studded third baseman. Nolan Arenado obviously being the greatest of the bunch. You think back to Garrett Atkins. Obviously, Ryan McMahon follows suit from Arenado and was phenomenal defensively and at times really, really good offensively. Now Kyle Karros carries that torch into 2026. And he does so after a really, really strong spring. And you hear any interview Warren Schaefer talks about him, and it is just singing praises for the young third baseman. So you look at guys like Karros, and it's hard not to at least be somewhat excited for the future because you have some of these younger guys like Tovar, Goodman, Doyle as well. So just get some building blocks and build these pillars up. Build it from the ground up. That's something we've talked about a lot in the last couple of months. 2026 needs to be a building block year. You need to develop some of these guys, and you need to have the right coaches in place, which obviously you think of Alan Leichman, who it's just, again, a breath of fresh air. It has all been a breath of fresh air this spring, a different approach, not banging your head against a wall time and time again. And just because it's fresh does not mean it will work. It does not mean it will be foolproof. But there is something to be said about actually just trying something different and going for it. And so 2026, my hope is figuring out what is the secret sauce to pitch well at Coors Field. I don't think the Rockies technically have all the right arms for it, but they have a lot of different types of arms that will at least give them a better idea of how to take on the giant that they have never, ever been able to conquer, which is one of the many reasons why they've never won an NL West, obviously why they've never won a World Series, and why they have so few playoff visits. But it's hard not to at least feel excited about this new front office, feel excited about some of these young players, and feel excited that there is just kind of a renewed energy that you hope can carry not only for the entire season, but well into the offseason and well into 27, 28, 29. That is how you start to build. You have to have the right guys in the right places. You have to get a little lucky. And a lot of this starts here in 26 and how they kind of build from the ground up. So there's things to be excited about this year. I think it's also fair if you're watching this, like, this dude is way too chipper about a team that might win 60 games. And I think it's also very fair to say, hey, I've followed the Rockies for 20 years. I'm sick of watching terrible season after terrible season. You are owed those feelings as well. You deserve to have those feelings. And I absolutely don't want to take that away from anyone because it's very valid. But I do also just want to note that, hey, it does feel like there could be something different because of all the names that they pulled in that front office. All external, which praise the heavens. Those were the moves that the Rockies made. So look, tangent, but we talk about new faces and everything like that. Just goes into, hey, what are some things to be excited about in a season that will be hard? There are still things to look at, be excited about, from front office to who I started talking about, Kyle Karros. There's going to be some good things that come in 2026. There's going to be some bad. There will absolutely be some bad, but I do think there will be some good in the 2026 season. And it could be something we come back to and say, boy, was I wrong. But I hope I'm not. And I hope, it's not crazy to say that. But it's funny to transition from kind of, these new faces and everything like that. Really interesting. The Rockies, just one lefty in the bullpen. They've got 3 left-handed pitchers in total. Freeland, Quintana are both starting pitchers, so you've got 2 lefties in the starting rotation. And then Brennan Bernardino, who they got from the Red Sox, is going to be your only lefty. And so that will be interesting for the strategy of Warren Schaefer and how he approaches different ABs, especially late in game. Bernardino could be seen as honestly one of the better relievers in this bullpen, and could have a big impact for the Rockies. But only one lefty reliever can get you into some trouble. So that will be very, very interesting in how the Rockies just approach different in-game decisions and how they use Bernardino and what his overall role will be for the Rockies. Because obviously there's going to be more right-handed batters than left-handed, but he's still a really solid arm. And you just like to maybe have one more lefty in that bullpen. Having two lefty relievers would be nice. It's not the end of the world, but it would be nice to have a second guy in that bullpen and just on the roster, another lefty. But regardless, that's what the Rockies are going to be rolling with. And I'm really excited to see what this bullpen is capable of. We've talked about them at length. They've got some young arms, they've got some really talented arms, and they've got some guys who are absolute flamethrowers. And so it's, I think, going to be a kind of big prove-it year for the Rockies and how they approach it, especially from the bullpen. Prove-it year not as in like, hey, they're expected to win 90 games, but I think they should be expected to be a better bullpen than what they were last year. And I think from what we've seen, these arms are good enough to be, I mean, it's not even lofty, but to say like a top 20 bullpen in baseball, you're better than 10 teams like that. That's not a crazy, I mean, maybe it's crazy coming from a Rockies guy, but that shouldn't be a crazy goal. But maybe I'm insane. I am insane. So take that. But finally, folks, we're one sleep away from opening day. And my hope is by the time I am able to record for the Friday show, we'll know the lineup. Again, if not, we're just going to throw out predictions of what I would hope to see on opening day in this opening weekend. But it will be interesting. I'm sure a lot of guys will get into that lineup. But it's here, folks. We've waited a long time. Some people might be wishing that they would get to wait longer, but you don't get to wait anymore. There's no more sleeping at this point for the Colorado Rockies. Their season begins on Friday. And folks, I am very, very curious to hear what you're thinking. Leave a comment down below. What are some storylines, players, coaches, or whatever it might be, the front office that you might be interested in, excited for, nervous about, skeptical, doubtful, downright hateful about? We welcome all at Rockies Daily. And so, regardless, thank you so much for watching. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I hope you're along for the ride during the regular season, even when it can get tough. We will be in this together, folks. That's the beauty of Rockies Daily. We're going to get through this together, regardless how the season goes. So thank you again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on opening day.